Hey, Google, turn on all my lights. This is Nicki Sun from TechNicki speaking, here with a gear recommendation. A wireless microphone system that not only plugs into your camera, but also to your phone and computer. What do you think?
That's dope!
You're zooming in on me. And at the same time, I have no director or cameraman.
Right now, you're like Asian Daenerys in my mind.
I've always been the mother of cameras.
I love technology. When other women see us in front of the camera, they're inspired to do it too.
This has been Nicki Sun with Gals and Gear at NAB Show Live.
Nicki is an amazing entrepreneur slash content creator slash female director slash cinematographer slash Asian ambassador.
She's talking about choosing the right camera for the job.
Woo! Definitely.
She's amazing.
That was it for this episode of TechNicki Speaking. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Hello everyone and welcome back to TechNicki Speaking by Nicki Sun. I'm your host, Nicki Sun, and this is the second day for us being here since Sunday, but it might be the first kickoff day for everybody seeing the NAB Welcome Show today. Welcome back in person to the NAB Show. We are doing a live show talking the future of live streaming, the gear that we use it. I have some amazing special guests, so if you're walking the show floor right now, or if you're heading over to your next session and you don't want to miss it, just log on to www.nabshow.com. We are taking over all of NAB socials, as well as my YouTube channel, TechNicki Speaking. And I'm just so thrilled to be here. And to the right of me, I have very, very special guests. First up is Parecki, who you have come with me to the show all throughout the show yesterday, walked the show floor, let me tether off of your phone plan, which I greatly appreciate, and just really giving a deep dive into the YOLO box and the A10 Mini by Blackmagic. And then to the right of Aaron, we have Rocky Nash. I just met her over social media. I literally was asking who's coming to NAB, and she said I am. I checked out her page and I realized she is an incredible live producer who has been working with the Roland Aerocaster as well. So I thought, why not bring these two who have never been to NAB show but have a huge background in live streaming, and let's talk the future of live streaming together on the stage. So thank you and welcome you two.
Thank you.
So Aaron, I want to get started with you. Can you give us a little background of what you do? I know you have another life outside of live streaming. I want to hear all of that as well.
Sure, yeah. Hi, I'm Aaron Parecki. I have a YouTube channel. It's my name, Aaron Parecki, and I talk about live streaming tips and techniques. I review live streaming gear. I talk a lot about the A10 Mini line of products, as well as the YOLO box, which I have with me here. And yeah, my goal is really just to help you be successful in your live streams. So that is, that's what I'm doing here today.
And where are you traveling from?
I am traveling from Portland, Oregon.
What do you do in Portland, Oregon?
So in Portland, Oregon, I am a software architect, security architect at Okta. I actually do trainings on security for software developers and people who are writing applications and working in that whole world. So that is my normal daytime job, and this is my sort of nights and weekends life.
So going from your day job, how did you find the love of getting into live stream, and when did that fascination start happening for you to realize this is lucrative, this is something that I absolutely love? You have a very successful YouTube channel, by the way, and every single one of your videos is live streaming or helping others to live stream, and you get to test out all these live streaming gear, not just the YOLO box or the A10 Mini. So I'm really, really excited to hear from you. But yeah, how did you make that transition to include live streaming into your everyday life?
Yeah, that's a good question. In my normal life of doing software development things, I was doing a lot of talks at conferences. So I was used to that sort of environment of the conference environment and seeing the talks recorded, and I was like, I can do that too. So I actually got my start in this world with the Blackmagic ATEMs by recording other people's conferences. So I would offer my services to friends who were organizing events of like, hey, if you want your talks online, I can set up cameras, run the live switchers, and produce your talks. So I did that a fair amount, and once Blackmagic released the A10 Mini in 2019, I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. They're making this a lot more accessible to a lot more people by releasing this much easier to use and much scaled down and cheaper version of their very professional products. And I was like, I can help people learn this. And that's really when I started doing the YouTube videos, and that's when that kicked off.
Yeah, I overheard yesterday in our talking that you went to go check out the Blackmagic booth, by the way. And was there any updates or releases that you wouldn't mind sharing that might impact your live streaming world?
Yeah, well, that was something that I was looking forward to for sure. And then last week when they did their announcements, nothing came out in the ATEM world. And then they surprised us yesterday with some new ATEM switchers in the HD range. So those are a couple of new rack mount gear. So it's sort of like a step up from the ATEM Mini once you're ready to sort of build out more of a broadcast studio rather than the more desktop style. But I am excited about those. I think that's another good bump in the line of like, okay, let's bringing this price down to do very professional work, and making that again available to more people.
Amazing. Now, before we get into all more gear talk, I do want to hear more about Miss Rocky Nash. So, Miss Rocky Nash, like you live in Vegas, I hear. Can you give us more about your background, your information, and all that?
Well, thank you so much. Yes, I'm Rocky Nash of Savvy Streaming, and I got my start in live stream by going live on an app you may remember called Periscope, right? And it was then acquired by Twitter Live, and I started going live consistently, giving people tips about Las Vegas. And from that, my mind was just blown with how quickly you can grow an amazing community. And from there, I just started to upgrade my content with a gimbal to stabilize my camera, external lighting, external microphones, then moved on to desktop live streaming. I was able to actually beta test YouTube Mobile Live in 2017. I was invited to do that. It was amazing. I started beta testing more gear, doing public speaking on the power of live stream, and then from there, desktop applications. Desktop stream platforms like Ecamm for my Mac, using OBS for PC, and other products. There's so many out there. There's Wirecast, there's Switcher Studio, there's StreamYard. So I've used everything that's out there, and by creating so much content consistently, I started to do guest lectures. A friend of mine, a professor at UNLV here, he was doing a sports broadcasting course, and I would go and do speaking to help future journalists learn how to utilize new media, build their reels on social media by going live. And from there, I was recruited to a local news station here in Las Vegas, a CBS affiliate, KLAS TV, as a live producer. And I built them a digital studio because they had an initiative digital first. So from there, that's when I started beta testing and helping people upgrade their studio. So if they're producing at home, they want to have a video podcast, then that's how I got into beta testing other switchers like the Roland Aerocaster, which I'll tell you more about later because I don't want to hog the mic.
No, I love that. And first of all, I just want to say thank you both, because the way that we have met was literally within a week's time. And I hope this is like an encouragement for those who are coming to NAB for the first time or coming back for the first time in 3 years. I'm just genuinely excited to always talk about innovation, technology, and we connected over social media.
We did.
And I know social media has been such a forefront of being kind of like in the same forefront with live streaming. Like you can't have one without the other because there's so many ways to live stream. Even now we're on restream.io and we're streaming our feed to multiple channels, my channels, NAB's channels, the homepage. So when it comes to those, like how does social media work hand in hand with live stream? And do you feel like you have to be an expert at social media on top of live stream? Like is there like a whole breadth of extra information? Because I think that's why some people get a little intimidated by starting live stream, because maybe I don't have my social media game down.
I'm going to give this to you because I'm terrible at social media. I do not claim to be a social media expert by any stretch of the imagination. Right. I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter, and I put things on them, but I don't say I have a good strategy for it. So I would love to hear from someone who knows more.
All right, I wouldn't call myself a social media expert either, but I do know the power of live stream because for years I had less than 1,000 subscribers, even on YouTube, right? Social media platforms. But the impact that live streaming can make is that if you go live consistently about any topic, you can grow an audience that will follow you and that will cause brands and companies to notice you. So I just went live consistently and made sure that my titles were good and that they were hashtagged with the topic. And from there, just consistently posting until you figure everything out. Just start. Any platform, go live consistently on it, establish yourself as an expert, and anything is possible. I mean, look, I met you on Instagram DM, right? And now I'm meeting Aaron Parecki. That's amazing, all from someone who used to live stream only with their mobile phone, and then eventually being recruited into television news, and now starting my own company, Savvy Streaming. That all started from consistency. I never had a specific strategy except for just being consistent.
I love that. And you said as you got more into live streaming, you started with phones, but is it any situation where either of you utilize your phone still in your live streaming, or do you feel the need to move into bigger and bigger equipment and camera gear?
Well, when I was doing a lot of the conference recording stuff, I would, for the bigger conferences that are like multiple days, I would bring in multiple DSLRs or camcorder style cameras and rig them all up. But then I started also doing some smaller events, like evening events that are just a couple hours, and I was like, this is just way overkill, and it's just too much work to spend an hour to set up for an hour shoot and then an hour to tear down. And that's when I started looking for even smaller and smaller solutions, including using smartphones as cameras for those. So I was a big user of the Sling Studio a while back because that was one of the easiest ways to get a wireless phone as a camera into a video switcher. And I was a big fan of that. And the smartphone cameras weren't great 5 years ago, but they were good enough for sort of like set the stage. We're at a conference, big wide shot, and then you have like the one good camera for a close-up, right? So I was mixing and matching them quite a lot, and in the meantime, smartphones have gotten a lot better now, so there's a lot more opportunity there.
Yeah. How about you, Rocky? I know that you use a lot more mobile phone technology.
I agree that there are instances where a mobile phone and keeping your gear kit as light as possible is important. But like even just recently, I live streamed with just my mobile phone. I went back to the past out in front of the Bellagio fountains when BTS debuted their new song, Butter and Dynamite, on the fountains of Bellagio. And that was just using my phone. And within less than an hour, 1,500 people had subscribed to watch that stream. I couldn't bring my professional camera and microphone gear. I didn't have a friend with me, but I just stabilized my phone and streamed, and that was enough. Other times, like Aaron was saying, you can go live now with your smartphone, and the quality of it is amazing. Like even with the Roland Aerocaster switcher, I have a client that I helped build a studio. She had an at-home cooking show using only smartphones. So up to 4 smartphones to provide multiple camera angles for her broadcast. So it just depends on the situation. A phone is perfectly fine. Multiple phones are fine, and professional cameras. Start with what you have and go live. I'm going to keep saying that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just go live. Just start.
Yeah. Well, beyond knowing the gear, you both are on-camera personalities too. So, you're having to navigate both being on camera, the presentation, everything like sounding right, which is a lot of extra gear. On top of that, I mean, as a one-woman band as well, it's like we have to worry about being both in front and behind the camera. So, what are some tips that you've gained in the years that you both have been doing live streaming, both on camera and behind the camera, when you're a one-person team doing live streaming?
Yeah, it's a good question. I am surprised to find myself on this side of the camera, frankly, because I always thought I was only the person that would be behind the camera. But I realized that I was doing a lot of presentations in front of people for work anyway, and that's almost the same thing. And then just practicing that and getting more comfortable at it. And I also always used to hate the sound of my own voice in recordings, and I would hate listening back to it. Everybody does, right? And it would drive me absolutely nuts trying to edit my own videos because I did not like to listen to myself. And I was just like, well, I have to get over it, right? And the way to get over it is to do it and practice. And now I don't care anymore. Now whatever. Like, sure, maybe I don't sound as good as I would like to, but I don't care anymore. I just do it. So
when did that point of not caring happen?
It was a slow process, but it was just after having done it a lot. So having having edited a bunch of videos on my own channel, having listened back to my own presentations I gave at conferences where I'm taking notes about like what to do for the next one. Just practice, yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Rocky? Any tips?
I agree with Aaron, and I know none of us like listening to our own voice, but You're amazing. I watched your content, both of you, and I like listening to, it's really about the content, right? We go live for our audience, and if they care about the content, even if you, I mean, they're not expecting perfection from a live stream. Even if we prepare and we practice, things will go wrong, but that authenticity, that's what they fall in love with, that's how they connect with you. So, but for me, just the basics. Before you invest in, the awesome software and hardware that we're going to be talking about more throughout the show, lighting. Even if it's just your window lighting, make sure that you're facing a window for good lighting. Make sure your audio is good, because people will endure okay video, but audio they will not. So just have good audio when you can finally upgrade. I mean, I just have little wireless Rhodes Goes, or just plug in a lavalier, things like that. But going live, consistency, you'll eventually get comfortable on camera. Those are just the basic things, I would say.
Yeah. Wow. I would say, for those who are maybe considering live streaming, but it's like, wow, it's a whole production, maybe a whole chunk of my time. Why should I care about live streaming? Why should I invest in live streaming? I think with your experience in live streaming, I'd love for you to address that question for our viewers who are like, why live stream? Is it worth my investment? Is it worth my time?
I've been enjoying it as a way to both practice my own skills in streaming so that I can, one, there were no conferences for the last 2 years, so I wasn't able to go and sort of do the live streaming out in other people's events, so I was doing my own events as a way to just keep up with the skills and keep up with the gear. But no, I think that now I lost my train of thought. What was the question?
Why live? Why should anybody?
Why live? I think it's a good way to get. It's a different way of working with video than fully edited videos, and I think there is place for both, because I do appreciate watching edited videos, but I also appreciate watching live. And I think for the live aspect, it's really about the community. So it's really about engaging with the audience, having a sense of community that you're building, and having those people. I have a lot of regulars who come to the stream every week, and it's really nice to see everybody in the chat. It was a great way to have a regular event that we all sort of go to virtually for the last 2 years. So I think it's really about just engaging with people.
How are you, Rocky?
Same. I love Aaron's comments. I'm in your chat too. But the reason I say why live is because we're all consuming content on our mobile phones, right? It's with us all the time. It's the most convenient way to reach your audience. And so when you go live, it's the next best thing to being face-to-face. You can gather people's comments. I mean, and there's software, like I was mentioning with the Mac software, Ecamm, streaming software, you can actually add comments to the screen, right? Things like Tagboard bring on live social engagement and graphics from the community. So live stream allows you to not just be talking at your audience, but it allows them to participate. And when you get that type of engagement, it's just a deeper emotional connection. I mean, you're growing your own audience and can make an impact. And that's why I think live streaming is important, because it's not just one way of communication, it's two-way. And it's only getting better, right? And it's a connection of traditional media with this new media together is really powerful.
Yes. Now, I remember doing a presentation on live streaming at the beginning of the year when I was speaking at the Visual Storytelling Conference produced by FMC, who are here right now producing all these amazing things for the post-production world. But when I was looking at it, they're saying live streaming was expected to pass $500 billion in China and $12 billion in the US. There's so much money being funneled into live streaming, and so many companies wanting to, get their share in that way. Have you seen kind of the investment that you put in live streaming return? Is it profitable for you? And can you make money from live streaming?
All right, I'll take this one. Yes, you can. So it doesn't happen overnight, but with consistency, improving the quality of your streams. I mean, I resigned from Network News only 4 months ago to start my own business, Savvy Streaming, to help your everyday person take their story and monetize it. So whether it's simple as putting affiliate links into your live stream, of a product you're talking about. I see people going live on Amazon Live all the time selling products. And just monetizing your story even can get you brand sponsorships. So you become an expert of a certain topic. A brand says, oh, I would like to partner with you on that. That's a relationship, a sponsor partnership, right? So there's lots of ways that you can monetize it. I myself help people build their studios, their live stream studios in their homes. So there's ways to do it. We can tell you more about that later, right? Hit us all up to learn about that.
Absolutely. If you need a live streaming producer and someone to help you with your live stream, like these two are definitely the people to reach out to, especially if you're a Vegas local like Rocky. Definitely reach out to Rocky. I've seen the stuff that you put on your gram, which has become like a visual business card for many of us when you don't reach out. Like essentially how I reached out with Rocky is she made a comment, I love to check out people who like to engage with me authentically and not spam bots, right? And like this was an authentic comment.
Yeah.
And once I saw your page, your whole page was live streaming this, live streaming that, and like if I were a business looking for a live stream content creator, I'd be like, I need to book Rocky.
That was amazing, by the way. I was like, is this really Nicki? Like, she replied right away. I mean, I was mind blown. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is like the power of going live, and I think a comment to that too is folks who say that they don't have the following for it, but it is engaging. When you have hours of streaming content, you're going live, you're at the top of everyone's feed. People come across your feed and they're interested in what you do and your story. So it's been beneficial. Not only to practice as like an on-camera host or a spokesperson, as we all are, but it was just being able to work with gear as well. But how about you, Aaron? Do you see like profits, or do you make money? Can you make money from live streaming?
I mean, I have right now my main live streaming is on my own channel, and it's this sort of thing, talking about live streaming, helping other people with their own shows. So very meta, and yeah, I get some ad revenue from YouTube and affiliate sales and all that. It was very helpful to continue supporting that work. But there's also the whole world of like being hired out to run other people's shows, that's where you can get a lot more you can find a lot more money there for sure. So hiring out your services as a live streaming person behind the camera, like all of these folks running the stream right now, are a great example of it takes a lot of skill to do that, and it is something you can absolutely sell that skill to other people. So there's a lot of opportunity there for sure.
Yeah, to what he said also, Nicki, is that like I was checking out the gear back there, but like other switchers, I mean, to produce concerts, webinars, things like that. I mean, they live stream Coachella, right? So the people behind that production that it would take to have hundreds of thousands of people on that live stream, someone needs to get hired to produce that.
Yeah. I love it. So as you get to do what you love, you help people with your own audiences, but then you can get hired out as a consultant, essentially, to help live streaming. So I can see where it's needed, especially before we get into the gear. I did want to ask, because I will say the moment I felt the pandemic was real was when NAB's show got canceled in 2022. That was the only thing. It wasn't the NBA. It wasn't anything else. But to me, when NAB's show did not happen in 2020, that's when I knew it was real. And we're all inside. We're quarantined, isolated in a way, and so many people flocked to the internet to trying to find a sense of connection during that time, and I really felt the explosion of live streaming. I wanted to know your experience during that time. Did you already have live streaming in your portfolio and you saw the boom, or was it something that you created from necessity of trying to still get your message out there and still trying to figure out how I'm going to work in this industry while we're still at home?
I started my YouTube channel before the pandemic, a while before the pandemic, and I had pretty good success with a series of videos I did in 2019 about the A10 Mini. Was not doing live streaming, so I never thought it was something I would be doing on myself. And I also travel a lot for work, or did travel a lot for work, and was on the road probably about 80% of the week at that point. And there was also, there's just no way to build in any sort of regularity when the travel is that much. So right when everything got locked down in March, that was when I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to be traveling for a while. Maybe 6 months was my thought, right? And not going to be traveling for a while, so this seems like a good chance to try this out. And at the same time, the work I was doing, which was a lot of in-person trainings where I would get in front of a room of 50 software developers and talk to them about security for an hour or 3, I was like, well, I'm already kind of doing this live session, and I had to move that to online at the same time. So I was busy taking my work online, doing these sessions over Zoom, and also on YouTube Live. And then I was like, well, I'll just do this for the YouTube videos as well, and help other people move their businesses online like everybody is having to do right now. And so that's really when I started. I just one day decided to start a live stream, and it was actually 2 years ago, almost exactly to this day, which is funny. Yeah. So that was the first live stream, and then I was like, well, that went pretty well. I'll do it again.
Wait, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
I thought you've been live streaming for more than that. You're
Not
so
on my own
polished and
channel.
professional.
Yeah. Well, do it every week, and you'll get better. It turns out.
That's a great practice. Like just dedicating yourself to one. For me, it's one a week. Every Tuesday, I have a live stream on Amazon. TechNicki Speaking by Nicki said, and I talk about gear for an hour while also educating and entertaining, hopefully, an audience about gear that you can purchase as well. So just that training alone, I started December 28th of 2021. So just recently, kind of the beginning of this year, I've been doing it once every Tuesday, and I will say I'm getting more comfortable like talking now. But sometimes you get talked out though. I'm like, what? I'm like, you need cough drops for that. How about you, Rocky? How did you navigate live streaming through the pandemic when you were at home?
Well, I had been live streaming before I even worked in network news, so I had already had a live stream channel, but it really just expedited my upgrading my own studio. It was like, okay, wait, this is proof of concept. Like, this is going to be necessary. Like, this won't, I know the pandemic won't last forever, but it definitely proved to me the importance of live stream, and it affected me because at the time I was actually working here at a local television news station, and that was an essential job to have as a live producer because anchors were going live from their homes. You know, we had limited people in the field. I was one person, one or two in a full newsroom when everyone went home, but the live producer would still need to, work with the encoder and route those streams to certain destinations to the web player so that things could go live. So it would just showed me the importance of live stream. And I've seen your Amazon Live channel. It's really amazing. But just as an early adopter of live stream, I was convincing people to use live stream when they were like, no, I really like the polished, perfect video. And now it's a necessity.
Yeah. And you can have both because we all do both. I mean, I'm a filmmaker as well, so there's parts of me where I love that polished video too, but you think about all the time it takes in production and pre-production to get that shot or to get that edit and even post-production, and then you think about the time it takes to create a live stream. It's the time you take to create the live stream, which is like you go live and that's it. And if you record it properly, you can edit it after the fact. Do any of you edit your videos afterwards, or is like, let's just put it up and it's up and yeah?
So I always thought I would. I thought that would be a good strategy for me because it's like you say, like it takes the amount of time to do the live stream as the live stream. That's plus an hour setup or whatever, not a big deal. But frankly, I don't. And I have found that what I have been doing instead is trying to streamline the process of doing my edited, produced videos and get that just lower and lower. So that is, I'm now at a point where I can do a video in an amount of time I'm comfortable with, and it doesn't feel like a huge barrier anymore. And a lot of that is because I've set up the live studio for live streaming. I can use the same setup to do the recorded videos, almost live, but not actually live. And I will do retakes of lines. I will re-repeat things. I'll go back and record a thing again, but it's almost like it's live, and then the edit becomes really easy. So I do have a video all about that whole process. It's on my YouTube channel. It's a really recent video, so
we have to check it out. All right, we have to check that out. How about you, Rocky?
Same, because in programs like Ecamm or OBS or Wirecast, you can design your rundown so that you don't need to edit it later. So I've just been working to improve my workflow so that I can go live in a way where I won't need to edit. And if I do make a mistake, then I can just, like you said, say it, just repeat it again and then just edit that one part. But I try to go live with my scenes scheduled and practice, rehearse, so that I don't need to edit later. So go live in a way so that you don't need to edit.
Amazing. Well, now this is the fun part because, on my show I talk about all the gear. We talked about live streaming, future of it. We'll touch a little bit. We'll talk more about that later. But the investing in live streaming gear is a whole nother thing. So I'd love for you both to nerd out and geek out with me and share your setups. And I guess we'll start with Aaron first because I'm familiar with the YOLO box. I have one as well. And your company, this is how we actually met. I was online and we're in the same giveaway. YOLO Box is giving away a $3,000 live streaming setup. So I believe the giveaway is still available until the end of this month. So it's on YOLO Box. But it's like a $3,000 package of your own live streaming gear. So if you want to create your own live stream studio, enter that giveaway. But we connected because I saw this cool cage and my YOLO Box didn't have one. And I realized you actually create these cages through 3D cloud printing. So can you tell us more about your company, when you started, and also about this amazing rig you have set up?
Sure, yeah, this has been a fun project too. So I have these cages for the YOLO box as well as the A10 Mini line, and this is something that I got into about a year ago. Decided to mount, I wanted a way to use these things and the A10 better than just sort of putting them on tripods and things. So I want to be able to attach like a camera to the top of it and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm just going to learn 3D modeling finally and get a 3D printer because I feel like it's something I should know how to do. And spend a couple of months figuring it out and learning the whole process, and then produce the first A10 Mini cage. And then I got connected with a team of people that actually have a whole 3D printing business, who are the ones that now create these that get shipped out to customers. So this has been going for about a year, and these are 3D printed plus this top bar is actually aluminum, so it can hold a lot of weight on top, which is nice. And you can actually buy these in a store, which is kind of amazing. I never thought I would actually have a product I designed available in a store.
Can I just say how amazing that is? I eventually want to design a product, but you've made a product and now you can sell it. That is so awesome. But yeah, tell us about your rig, your setup, and kind of the process of what you started with, how you evolved, and what works best for you.
Yeah, this is what I've been wandering around here at the show with. This is the YOLO Box Pro and the cage that I designed. And this is the Sony ZV-1 little baby camera up here, which fits nice on top. And then this is what I did the live stream from this yesterday at the booth during my normal live stream time. I couldn't miss a week, so 10 a.m. Sunday I had to go live from the show. And I only have one camera plugged in here on the stage here, but I also have a wireless camera that I use with it. So I plug in the wireless receiver. It hangs off the back of one of these little cold shoe mounts here, and then the wireless receiver plugs in here, and I can switch between the main camera, which I'm usually staring at like this, and then the wireless camera, so I can point at this or other things I'm looking at. So that's really why I made this cage, so I can attach all the things to it. When I was using the wireless mic, so this is a little on-camera mic, but I also have a wireless mic with it. The receiver attaches down here. I can put lights on the side. So that ends up being a nice little portable kit. And this is what I take when I'm out traveling, because this is the bare minimum version. And even with the extra camera and the lights, it's not that much additional gear. And I don't like to pack a lot of stuff when I'm traveling. So I really like just having this all small and compact. And yeah, this is what I've been using when I'm out and about.
So for those of us who don't know what the YOLO box does, can you give us more information about what is this machinery that you have with this camera that you bring around that makes it possible to go live?
So yeah, when YOLO Live first reached out to me a couple of years ago when they launched their first version, they sent me that one to review, and I took a look at it. I gave them a lot of feedback on it, and over the years they've been working on improving it, and it is really a all-in-one live streaming kit. Like, it really is. It's a monitor. You can see this. I think the screen's on. Yeah, and it shows you the camera. You can plug in multiple cameras. The Pro has 3 HDMI inputs, 1 USB webcam, so you get 4 things you can connect in there, and you can switch between all the different angles. You can add graphics from this, so you can load in your own show graphics. You can create lower thirds. This will actually then go and push a stream out to YouTube or multiple platforms. You can stream to multiple locations at the same time, all built in. Connect your wireless microphones, connect whatever. It's really an incredible little thing. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I do use the ATEM switchers a lot, but I'm not about to take my whole ATEM rig traveling to these kinds of shows, because it takes a lot more gear to make that stuff work portable. So that's why I'm a big fan of this, because it's everything you need all right here.
Yeah.
No computer needed.
That's the part where I saw really, really incredible. Like, I see all these other brands too, and they're doing amazing jobs to like make sure that it's also at a value price point too for those who are maybe getting started into live streaming, because when you first start out, when you don't have things like the YOLO Box or the Blackmagic A10 Mini, what might be some suggestions for folks to start their live stream?
I think it really depends on what where you're going to be streaming from and what your goals are with it, because there's a big difference between wanting to do a live stream where you're taking something out and traveling with it versus setting up a studio at home. A lot of different considerations I would think about there. But if you're looking for free options, there are a lot of good free options now too that you can do with smartphones or with apps on your computer. But I really like moving it into external devices, so I don't have to have a computer with me to do this, which is where this comes in handy.
And this just makes it very portable.
Yeah.
And with your rig that you've designed, you can literally rig up like as many lights and stuff as possible.
Yeah.
So that's really, really cool. Oh, I love it. Okay, Rocky, wait, Aaron, have you seen the Roland Aerocaster at all?
I've just barely seen it.
Okay, so this is a treat because
Yeah.
we both have not seen the Roland Aerocaster, and Miss Rocky has a hand on one, so I'd love for you to show us.
Yes, by the way, thank you, Roland, because I literally had just attended CES and heard it was released and it wasn't available yet, so I just reached out and said, can I please beta test that? I have a client who may need that. So what the Roland Aerocaster is, I don't know if the camera's here, but it is a wireless switcher. So I'll just bring it to the middle just a little bit so you can see it, but it's so tiny. It's very, very lightweight. Yeah, so it's a switcher, and what it allows you to do is to take the devices you already have to go live. So with this switcher, you can take up to 4 smartphones, whether it be iPhone or Android, connect them to your iPad on the same Wi-Fi, and they'll just pop up similar to how on Switcher Studio or YOLO Box, like how anything wirelessly on the same network will connect, right, as a camera source. And from there, I don't wish I can hold it. You can also connect, so there's 2 audio ports on the back. So they're XLR inputs, 2 of those. There's a line in as well. So if you want to have background music from your iPhone, and then that's a speaker output. But the really cool thing about it is that the companion software is completely free. So you could download the Aerocaster Live app on your iPad. That'll be your controller, right? Take your phones that you want to use, Android or iPhone, download the Aerocaster camera app, and as soon as you put them on the same Wi-Fi, they pop up here on the iPad. I have a little, oh, they're already popping up on here. I wasn't planning on doing that, but because,
cool.
right, one was popping up on here, but they're all on the same Wi-Fi, so those camera sources will pop up here. This is a copy of the actual device. So you see 2 cameras already connected, and that's why the buttons are starting to light up. You can go live from here directly within this software on your iPad to YouTube, to Facebook, to Twitch, and then our TMP destination as well. So basically anywhere, you use Restream, and then you can multicast everywhere. But what I love about it is that it's wireless. It's wireless, the companion software is free. Even if you don't have extra cell phones laying around that are compatible, I mean, meet up with your friends if you have a band, or if you want to put together a video podcast show, your friends could show up and everyone could just download the app, and they're your camera sources. So there's 4. Plus, you can also use browser source. So if you have a laptop, wirelessly as well, just add that in here as a source, browser source. It'll give you your URL, type that into your computer, then you can show a website, a PDF. So there's just endless possibilities. You go live, and there's only going to be more features soon because it's only been out for like, what, a month or 2? So I'm really happy to show that to you. If you have any questions about it, definitely ask. But I just think it's great for those thinking of getting into live stream and production, and they don't have a lot of a budget for it. This is under $300, and the software is free. It's a great way to test and go live with multiple camera angles. It's really dynamic. So that's just my little short teaser of the Roland Aerocaster. If you want to see it, I'll be here at the show.
Wow, well, you're the perfect beta tester. Thank you for letting us get a sneak peek of the Roland Aerocaster. That's incredible. Is this something that you would use when you're let's say, touring the show floor, or would you have a different setup for that?
So for touring the show floor, I mean, I could go live, of course, from my phone, but right now, if I could actually, I'm actually rolling all of this around in my little flight attendant little bag, and it took me, less than 15 minutes to set this up. I very well could use this and sit in someone's booth, set it down, hook up my, turn on my phones and my iPad, and I really could produce with this. And also another point to keep it wireless, besides plugging into here, I actually have a power pack powering it as well. But I'm using the Rode Wireless Go for my mic as well. So I really could use this during the show if I wanted to do a pop-up show inside of someone's booth, because the XLR port, I just got an adapter to use my Rode Wireless Go. So it's really easy to set up. I think so. I could do it. You want me to? I can try to test it out while I'm here.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you both for bringing your gear. I know, like, sometimes when we're touring the tour floor, the show floor, we want to be light, compact, all that stuff. But I would love to kind of wrap this up before we have questions from the audience, because you're the in-studio audience, we have some giveaways, and if you like ask questions and stuff, so I want to save time for that. But your last remarks on the future of live streaming, and just with the innovation and technology that you've been experiencing, that you may be experiencing on the show floor, or you're excited about, what is the future of live streaming, and in your opinion? I mean, it doesn't have to be like this grand woo-woo aha moment, but like, in your opinion, what is the future of live streaming?
It's always tough to tell, never really know, but I do think that we're seeing a lot more push towards smaller and more wireless bits and pieces to make it just easier and more flexible. So like the wireless HDMI technology has gotten so much better in the last 5 years, and wireless microphones have gotten so much better, and it really is possible to do this stuff really without a lot of wires and bulk. Plus, we're also seeing a really big shift towards the cloud, which I'm a little bit nervous about, but I do like some aspects of it. I like the part about it where it's a lot easier to collaborate between different locations. But I do like having hardware for like the actual sort of the bulk of the work. But I do like, the cloud style of like bringing in remote guests. That's a lot easier now than it used to be a couple of years ago. So I think that's a lot of where things are headed.
Gotcha. And what was the part that you're fearful of, though?
Well, I'm a big fan of hardware. I like the reliability and stability of having the stuff locally, which is, again, why I like this thing, because all the work happens here except for the final leg of the actual live stream itself. Whereas the more that you push up into the cloud, the more you're relying on the link between the cloud and your physical location to be up all the time. So with this, like if the link goes down, yeah, the live stream's down, but I could be recording a local copy that's totally fine, right?
Yes.
Whereas with a pure cloud production,
I see.
You're kind of at the whim completely, and if the link falls apart, then the whole show is down. So it's a I know it's not a perfect argument, but that's sort of where I'm at with things.
Well, I appreciate your insight, because I know the day job that you do like has a lot to do with like all of that. Well, how about you, Rocky? What is the future of live streaming in your world, and what do you hope for the future of live streaming?
Every live streamer's fear, right? That signal going down. So we're going to scour this floor for the perfect remote production connection for us. I'm sorry, for live stream, right? So the internet connection is my only fear. Besides that, I'm very excited about the future of live streaming, because it allows anyone to tell their story, monetize it, create a show. It's the NAB, and it's not just for professional television and radio industry professionals. It's also those content creators, as you look at the different sections, right? I see you shaking your head. The creators, the workflow section, then the post-production and whatnot, distribution. But I'm excited about cloud-based solutions as well for graphics, for production. But I would just say, even though we are obsessed with tech here, don't let it intimidate you, because anyone can do this. You can start small, build up the software, hardware as you go, and because I've used everything up to the television network and production gear, but I too think the future is more remote, to be able to go live anywhere at any time and reach your audience in real time to get that real time engagement and feedback. So that's my feedback. I'm excited.
Oh, I love it. Well, before we get to any audience questions, because I want to get on a flow here, can you just tell the audience again your name, where they can find you, and how they can support?
Yeah, I'm Aaron Parecki, mainly on YouTube under my name, Aaron Parecki, and if you can't spell that, you can find a link to it at aaronpk.tv. That is my website that is all about my live video production. And these stands you can find at pk1.tv. That's the website for this line of products. Also Instagram and Twitter, Aaron PK, you'll find me everywhere.
I'm excited about that yellow box and Aaron's rig there. We're gonna have to check that out. But my name is Rocky Nash of Savvy Streaming. I'm a live producer that helps you go live. And you can find me anywhere on social media at Rocky Nash Live. My website is rockynash.com.
Amazing. And I want to thank you both for being my distinguished live stream professional guests today. Again, Aaron Parecki and Rocky Nash. Do we have any questions from our live in studio audience about live streaming or any of the gear that we have today? Yes, you, sir. So the question was, just for the viewers at home, is what live streaming software do you recommend?
So I do prefer using hardware for streaming, whether that's ATEM hardware, YOLO box hardware. As far as software goes, I do use OBS in my productions, but not as the switcher. I use it for graphics overlays and things like that. And one of the nice things about OBS is that it is free. And it can do quite a lot. So it is a really good way to get started if you have a computer and want to grab a capture card for it. You can do a lot with OBS, and it's a really good way to start. And I mean, a really good way to just keep going with it. So that is probably my #1 recommendation, just because it's free. I have also used Ecamm a bit, and I do like what they're doing with it as well, for making it very easy to do a lot of the multicam and graphics stuff. Ecamm is probably easier to use than OBS, which would be probably the next step I would go after giving things a try first with OBS.
Awesome. Thank you for your question. Do you had another one? Oh, okay.
Oh, I would agree with Aaron, and he's a pro for sure. And I've also used the ATEM Mini, which is great. And when you're using hardware, I did start on OBS, but it all depends on the operating system you're using. So if you have a PC, definitely start OBS because it's free. But like you said, it's a little more difficult for some people to learn. But I've learned a lot from help menus. But if you have a Mac computer, I absolutely recommend you start with Ecamm, or if you're looking for something like StreamYard, you could also use. So that's very, very easy. I'm trying to think in order of what's the quickest, easiest to use if you want to build a rundown. There's StreamYard, Ecamm for Mac, OBS for PC, and there's more, but I'll tell you later.
Amazing. Was that your question? Do you have one more? We had answered that question a little bit in the morning earlier, but we can repeat it. But for those who are scared of getting into live streaming, what would you say and what would you recommend for them?
Other than just start.
Other than just start. Or that could be.
I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to just start. You do. Like, you have to get over whatever fear you have. And I definitely, that was applied to me too. Like, I thought that it was not something I would ever be doing. I thought I would never have anything to say. Maybe the more concrete advice is go into the first stream with a plan of what you want to talk about, rather than assuming that you're going to have any audience for the first one, because honestly you may not, and have a plan, go through that plan, and then watch it back and see how you did, and then pick something to improve and improve that next time.
I would agree that preparation is key. Definitely talk about something that you know about first. Talk about something that you love that helps with removing the nerves. Also, follow other content creators that can inspire you. If you see someone who has a similar topic that they speak about and you love watching them, the more you watch them, it'll help you build up your own confidence. And then before going live, just set up your phone and pretend you're going live and record yourself. Watch it back to see how you looked, how you sounded, and then just keep doing that until you feel really comfortable going live. And then also ahead of time, test your signal. Oh, it's so stressful when you start seeing frames dropped, right?
Yes.
When you go live. It's all preparation. Get set up, test your signal, record yourself, and practice. You can even go live private before you make it public. Do that, watch it back, and then make it public, right? You can do that on YouTube, you can do that on several different platforms. So I would just say, talk about something you love, your audience, and once you finally go live and you know what you're talking about, your audience will encourage you to keep coming back and do it for them. Don't think less about yourself and the value that your content can bring to others, and it will help you to go live, and before you know it, the butterflies are gone.
Amazing. And I forgot to say, since you asked the first question, we wanted to gift you the Saramonic Blink 500. This is for your audio when you can start your live streaming production. So come up over here, get this for us.
Congratulations.
I'm all about giving out prizes here for people who really want to have questions. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Shout out to Saramonic for dropping by. You got the floor sample. They're like, after we finish this, you can give it to somebody in your audience. So thank you so much. I know we have to set up for the next stage, but we'll be around for questions off-side. But thank you so much for joining another TechNicki Speaking by Nicki's Son. I do a live stream show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Amazon Live, but I'll be here for 2 more days, same time, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here. We have an in-studio audience. We're also broadcasting everywhere all at once on nabshow.com. My channel's TechNicki Speaking. Tomorrow we have the wonderful cinematographer and director Valentina V joining me in conversation for a full hour. And then on Wednesday we wrap it up with a full Women Crush Wednesday panel of all the social media influencers who have been touring the floor, capturing content on different devices. And I just want to hear from their eyes and their perspective the first time capturing at a show like this. So thank you for all for joining, and if you stick around, I also have some limited edition enamel pins if you'd like one. But thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.